Hello, cardigans!
Wait, that's not right.
I've got a special video for you today. We are going to be reviewing custom cards for this YouTuber's card game. Making and seeing custom cards for games is one of my favorite pastimes. In the past, I've made tons of custom cards for Mindbug, one of my favorite card games. I couldn't be more thankful for all the feedback I got from members and the designers themselves. So when I found out about the Fool's Blade Discord, and all the custom cards people have been making, I thought this would be a perfect to give back and share some of my own thoughts on their custom cards so we can all become better game designers. And it's just some fun seeing all the wacky ideas too. And if you don't know about Fool's Blade, don't worry, I'll explain along the way. Alright, here we go! Just cut that out. Alright, here we go! So it's a bit of like the Mushroom Answer situation where like it could be really good, but you have to get lucky. So as you notice here, this is not a tier list. I am gonna put this in like in a low motion place, you know? Like how would this make someone feel, right? And I feel like I would just feel fine, you know? I'm like, sure. It's nice, right? It's not like any big moment or anything. It's like maybe if you encounter like a water monster. Alright, our next one. This one's pretty cool. We got Lumberjack's Blade. So, very nice art. I like it a lot. Appropriate, like strength values here. That's good. This would go well with the Burning Light from before, right? So, yeah, the set bonus is you're better against plant guys. Yep, so it has less strength. It's kind of random though. And if a player tries to steal from you, and then they might not be able to steal. So the pommel is pretty good, but it's not usual that someone steals from you. There's like 4 cards in the game or so that you can steal from someone else. So I think that's pretty appropriate. If it were 2 strength though, maybe 1, and then put it like somewhere else in like the handle or guard. Because usually like 2 strength is like the highest, unless maybe you have like a legendary weapon part or something. But otherwise, very good balancing, and I like the idea a lot. And any path blocking tree haters out there, they will love to see this card. Garbage Day. This is very versatile. You can save your Anvil cards, like people breaking your stuff. It can get you other people's things. It is a little bit cunning, you may say. Actually, I'm not sure what this face means. It kind of means everything. Alright, and the next one we have a class. So we got Immersive Gun Slinger. So you can reload your revolver during phase 3. It's not quite clear what phase 3 is for players. But I have to look at the rulebook. You can like name it what it actually is. Wait, what is it actually? Yeah, choosing your destination. So I guess you can say that instead of phase 3. But if you choose to do so, roll a d6, and then you roll a d4 for the result of the d6, and then +1 strength for each 3 and 4 rolled. So I guess this is where the immersive comes in. I'm not sure if that is immersive or not. But that's a little bit on the mathy, kind of like doing a bunch of things for the sake of just doing a bunch of random stuff. So it's not generally in Fool's Blade vibe. But I kind of like the idea of like immersive. But it's kind of hard to have something immersive in this kind of game. In any board game, really. So, oh yeah, we got Jared. He's just a guy. He's chilling. Looks a bit dazed, but when you defeat him, you claim the Anvil card. It's the modifier. So, monsters, sometimes they have modifiers, and then you would draw an Anvil card and add the strength to this. But actually, it's minus strength, which is interesting. Monsters don't really have that, so that's pretty cool. This effect might be on the more extreme side, because this is only going to be like an average, like 5 strength or lower. Usually 5 strength because of how the Anvil works. Players like look through the Anvil deck and then they pick one they want, and usually the weaker ones are left on the top. So you're probably going to get like a 5 strength here. And that is a lot for a 5 strength monster, so I'm not quite sure about that one for the lose effect. But I like the minus Anvil card here. Next we have, oh yeah, Curse of Identity. You can't use class abilities. Now I love this because it is not wordy, which is great. So you just read it, you already know what it is. Great for, because the game is meant for like people who don't usually play card games and stuff. And this will be great for like, to get people into the game. So this is pretty solid. 3 timer. It'll last like 2 turns basically. So yeah, it's like pretty solid. Alright, what do we have here? Like Gremlin. Like the video. What is this? No, this is not a card, guys, come on. You know what? I said this wouldn't be a tier list, but it is now. Yeah. F tier. Wait, I forgot, it only goes down to D tier. And next up we got the Princess. You cannot equip weapon parts. At the start of combat, choose a player. Use their weapon and your own gear. So this one is very different playstyle than like usual. So you don't have a weapon and you just use someone else's. So it's kind of defeating the purpose of the game where like you want, it's all about like creating a weapon and stuff. So, but you do get to, I guess like not go to the forge as often, which is nice because like you don't want to waste too much turns on the forge. You just want to go to monster hunting and get points as fast as possible. So as you wait for someone to get weapon parts, you can go like questing for like extra stuff, I guess. So it's pretty good. On the fun factor though, I don't think I would like to play without a sword, so Next up we got Millionaire! Oh yeah, like Scrooge McDuck kind of guy. Every time another player gets a loot card, lower the value of that card by 1. Every time you get loot card, increase the value by 1. So this one is just basically, I get a whole ton more points. There are 30 loot cards, and so for each one you get, well basically it's like, you get a point, So that's like 30 extra points for you, which is pretty crazy. It's like, you basically win the game. So, this one is extremely overpowered, and yeah, I guess I'll put it on this guy. Alright, the next one better not be an overpowered card. What the? Destroy each loot card in a stash? What is this F key all over again, bro? Get out of here. D tier. Alright, here we got an actual tavern card. Just one more. Target player cannot leave the tavern this turn. At the end of their turn, they may draw 2 tavern cards. So this one is pretty cool because it can actually counter is it called the dangers out there, or the one that makes you go to the forge? So you can play this one, and they did play it on your turn, but you actually don't have to go to the forge, and instead you can just wait it out for even more tavern cards, so that's pretty nice. You can also target someone else if they play like a good card that can like give them advantage but on that turn, but then you make them basically skip that turn. So that's pretty nice. So I think, yeah, this one is like a better version of the other skip card, like the one where like you take a loot card to skip like your whole turn. Put it over here, yeah. It's more like, haha, actually you're going nowhere. Alright, Hyperactive. You can assemble your weapon at any time, but your weapon is 2 parts at max. You can choose an additional destination after the assembly phase. Your hidden size limit is 2 cards instead of the 8. So this one is pretty crazy. I think we've been playtesting some of these cards, and this is one I playtested. So you're gonna have to go to the forest all the time because of like the less weapon parts. But being able to go to like an additional additional destination is very strong. So it might be on the weaker side because of like the downsides are a ton, but I think it poses like a unique challenge, and I think that's what classes are for, you know? To like change up the gameplay experience if you want it. So yeah, I think I'll put it here. It can be pretty interesting. Alright, next up we have... Oh, where did it go? I should have known. It's spooky month. And we got another sword. Fool's Pole. Interesting. So when you defeat a water monster, add 1 card from the top of the Tavern, Forge, or Quest trash piles to your hand. I mean, you draw one of those. So that's pretty cool, being able to draw from the trash piles. I like that. And then you can discard 1 Tavern card to steal 1 card from any player's hand. So that might be very strong. Or maybe not. We'll see. Oh, it doesn't say random, but I'm gonna assume it's random. So basically, you can use all your Tavern cards as that 1 card that lets you randomly discard a card. Lets you randomly steal from another player's hand. Which is pretty strong because you might as well do that if you have like not very good Tavern cards. So, but I like the theme of that. Might be a little bit too strong, we'll see. Whew, we're like halfway there or so. Well, let's keep going. So we got Curse of Envy. Each time you lose combat, all other players draw 1 loot card. So I was looking at this, I'm like, it doesn't quite make sense because it's Curse of Envy. So wouldn't it be when players are envious of you instead of when you're losing? Because I wouldn't feel envious if someone lost. So the theming is a bit off. Speaking of curses, Jack's Pot of Curses. Break this gear to split your curses between other players. Cursed hammers aren't reset. So you don't really have to add that last part there, it's already assumed there, but that's a nice added thing, so it's easier to understand. So I think this one is pretty cool because you can use this when you get like a really bad curse. Like this one's kind of bad, maybe you want to use it there. And then you can just get rid of it, you know? And that's interesting on deciding when you want to use this, or later, if you find an even worse curse. Yeah, I think this is a bit of like, oh, cool, I can get rid of the curse. And it's also a bit of like, aha, because you're giving people curses. So I will put it here. Oh yeah, this one. I like the art on this one a lot. It's a bit zoomed out. Maybe you can zoom in a bit. But it's very cool. Animated armor. I love that kind of stuff, like just animated objects kind of thing. So this card goes into your gear setup instead of your stash, and functions as a gear card that gives you +3 strength. Once this gear card is broken, it goes into the stash of the player that it currently has equipped. So this one's pretty interesting because it turns into a gear, which is kind of outside the rules of the game. But it can also just be worded like other cards that give you extra strength, like that snake one. Like just a temporary buff. But having a gear card is pretty cool too. So I'm not sure how the judges will respond to a monster getting turned into a gear, but I think it is pretty cool. And then lose effect is, yeah, it's just losing some stuff. It's pretty good. Yeah, I think I would put it, I think it's a bit more than fine. I think it's pretty cool. I don't have a cool emotion here. Well, I guess this one is pretty cool. Like, oh, cool, I get the gear thing. We must go on next. Take this. Give a monster in combat +1 Anvil modifier, and then you add to the monster, like, you know, the usual claim the attached cards, place the attached Anvil cards in the bottom of the Anvil deck. So yeah, that is a downside of this because you probably have to add that to make sure players know what to do with it after. But otherwise, I think this is very cool. You can use this on someone else, But you can also use this on yourself if perhaps you want to get a bit risky and perhaps maybe players went through the Anvil deck a bunch and you're not sure what's there. Maybe it's something good, so maybe you'll use this card and draw that. But otherwise, if you know what's on the Anvil, it's probably pretty bad. So you probably don't want to use this on yourself, unless you just want extra cards for like discarding card abilities or whatever. But this is pretty cool to mess with players, and also pretty cool to use on yourself. So this has a lot of potential. I think I'll put it there. It can also be here for like, aha, I shall use this on the monster I'm facing. But I think most of the time you're going to use this on someone else. Alright, we gotta pick up the pace. Curse of Big-Headedness. Discard 1 Tavern card for each action card that other players have played since the end of your last turn. That is kind of a lot to keep track of. Maybe you can just put that on whenever someone plays an action card. But otherwise, that is a pretty cool curse. Maybe a bit too punishing, but it's not usual people play action cards. So I think that's pretty cool. I like it. I kind of just ended up putting all the curses up here, I guess. Cursed Mummy. 8 strength plus 1 loot modifier. Cool. So you can claim the attached loot. Maybe just put cards also, because maybe someone adds an extra modifier like we saw before here. Choose a player. They draw from the quest deck until they draw a curse card, then reshuffle the quest deck. And then, yeah, the lose effect is but for you. Get in a random curse. So the tricky thing here is, with cards about going through a deck and then shuffling it after you found the thing, that can be pretty problematic once there are a ton of cards in the deck, like once there's more expansions and such. And that can slow down the game having to like shuffle that and look through the deck. So I think this could be easily fixed by having the curses you take be from the discard piles. So you don't have to worry about the shuffling it really. You can just look through until you find it, and that's it. So, and then maybe put this on like 7 strength, because the loot cards can go up to 5 value, and 5 plus 8, that's like 13. And Cavern monsters pretty much never go over 12. So putting that down 1 more, I think that could make it pretty more balanced. And also the wind effect isn't too strong, so maybe make that more. And the lose effect is not too strong also. So I think that's, if you change those things, it can be very interesting having a monster around curses. Speaking of curses, I already said that anyways. Curse of Malfunctioning. At the start of your turn, roll a d6 for each gear card in your gear setup. If you roll an odd number, then the gear card you rolled for does nothing until the start of your next turn. So here, that is a lot of rolling if you have like multiple gear cards, and that can kind of slow down the game a bit. Otherwise, you can just like have this only for like, you can roll the d6 for all gear cards, and it might be a bit to keep track of at the start of your turn, but I think that's fine. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool to like mess with your gear cards. We already have one that like makes it so you can't have as much gear cards, like the curse of I forgot, but this one just stops them from working, so that is pretty neat. And next we have the subscribe button. When you defeat a monster, break your no. What guy? Who is submitting these cards? D tier. The Book of Fencing Teachings. So once per combat, you can multiply the strength of one of your melee weapon parts by 2 for that combat, and then break that weapon part at the end of combat. So this one is, it kind of throws me off with the wording, because like you're breaking it after. I think it could be reworded to something like more immediate, so you don't have to like remember. It's not too much to remember, but I think the wording's fine, sure. but it could be changed to like you can break a weapon part to gain that double that weapon strength, and it would have the same effect. I think this one might be on the weaker side because you can only use it on one of your weapon parts. I think it could be pretty fun to have it on multiple weapon parts, because usually you were only able to like break like one of your handles or guard or whatever, and that's only going to give you like an extra 1 strength, and you have to break it. So I think just letting players be able to also break just multiple parts and make it more useful. Yeah, I think I'll put this here. And it's like, when you have this, you're probably not going to lose too often because you can just break your weapon hand. You can like break your blade, but once it's broken, then you're gonna have to get a new one. So that's the downside, I guess. But pretty cool. And then we got Curse of Bad Quality. Nice. So lose 1 neutral strength for each weapon part you have in your blade. You may additionally discard 1 Tavern card to negate the effect. So the negating effect thing is a bit odd for a curse. I think you can just leave that out, and you got a very solid curse right here. Because curses, you know, you're not really meant to negate them. This is also very good because I think in general the neutral strength type for weapons is on the stronger side over elemental. So this one is pretty good in that way. So it's kind of punishes players that are overusing neutral strength parts. So that is pretty cool. I just realized I'm saying cool way too much. I should probably stop saying cool. But this is like a bit unscripted because I'm just going through all of these and giving my thoughts and how to improve them or not. So we got Finders Keepers. Your hand is also your stash, and you have double hand size after modifiers. Players can't steal nor discard cards from your hand. Your stash is not revealed because it's in your hand. So this one, you're basically playing it for the players can't steal or discard from cards from your hand. At the start of the game, you're gonna have a higher hand size, which might help, but not really too much because you can just discard the stuff you don't want and just still be fine. So this one is pretty weak. I did play to test this one before. It doesn't really give much benefit. And having less player interaction between players with like the not being able to just steal or discard just straight up might not be good. Whenever you have cards that protect players, it will always actually help the winning player more, because it has a bit of a snowball effect, because if you're a losing player and you have something that protects you like here, then players don't really care because they're not going to steal from you anyways, they're going to steal from the winning player. So if you are the winning player, then this actually helps you, but otherwise, not really. And that is one of the issues with protection kind of cards, because you have to watch out for them helping the winning player more than losing players. Next we have Curse of Love. You cannot target the player on your right with any card or class of abilities or effects. You can just say it. Abilities, right? I think that's what they're called. At the end of your turn, you have 1 card of your choice from your hand to that player. Like, to the right. So this one I think is pretty fun. It's thematic. It creates stories between players, and it's like, haha, I fell in love with you kind of thing. And the downside is having to pass them some cards pretty much. And for only like 2 turns or so. I mean, 3 turns, yeah. I think that's not too bad. And I think that's a pretty appropriate curse. So yeah, I'll put it here. This just in. We have here our custom card winners. Congratulations! Even if not familiar with the game, I hope you found this entertaining and educational. I may have given too much constructive criticism, if that's a thing, but just know I still love seeing all these custom cards either way, and want the best for the creators.
And hey, before you go, check out the Fool's Play Discord server. You have about a week until the custom cards are judged. I would love to see more people participate. See you there!